Hello, welcome back. This is part 9 of our SciFi Taser gun, laser gun, or whatever you want to call it. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let's continue the beveling process. We've got the top pieces done. We've got these little triangle pieces completely finished. We finished this one, that's the last one, so we're going to go ahead and continue with this piece over here, and we'll move our way down to that larger piece down here, which is a little harder to do. Let's go ahead and keep going. So let's do Control 1 to isolate, and the same things. We're just going to select all the edges that are on the outside. And continue with that process. Okay, we are going to skip these because it's flat right there. We don't really have any angles that we need to select. We just need to make sure we select the angles though. And we have, so let's go ahead and go into Edit Mesh and Bevel. There really isn't any, it's not really necessary to go into this anymore, so you can just go right into Edit Mesh and Bevel because we've done it once before. If the bevel looks too large, then we need to scale it down. Let's do half of that. And believe it or not, let me do a Control 1 to see what the rest of this looks like. I kind of want to get, and this is still too big, so we can take that down to 0.1. So there we go, and see how that matches everything else. Get a little closer, and I'm looking at this and this and this, kind of get an idea. Want to get it fairly close to that. This one looks a little larger. Let's go to 0.15 on this. Again, you never know what it's going to be until you actually do it. And that will actually work, because I kind of want these two to be just very similar in size, and that is still off a little bit, I think. So let me bring this back to this 0.15 instead of 0.2, so 0.23. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think that looks really good. Just try to keep it consistent. Okay, so that one's good. And we're going to continue on this one. So let's go ahead and Control 1. And we want to do the outside only on this. And we'll do, this is an interior piece. We cannot do that. We can do an exterior. We can't do an interior piece. That makes it all wonky. So let's keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and do the edges on the top. All the top edges can be done, and we want them to be done. Start with those, and then all the outside pieces. So let's go ahead and double click on that, and double click on that one, and double click on this and that side over there. And of course it's going to stop here at that break, and then we're going to double click on that, and then we're going to double click on this one here. Go to the other side, double click on this and double click on that. And we're not going to select anything else because we don't want to select anything here, but we're going to go ahead and click on these pieces here, these edge loops, and go click on that one and go down around like this. Okay, if you need to pause the video and catch up, that's fine, but this is what I have just along those edges here. Oh, I forgot that one. There we go. That's important. That one right there is probably the most important one up there, right there, because we don't want that to be look pointed. It's very pointed right there. So that looks good. Now this is an interior, but this is an exterior. These are both exteriors. But I don't think I'm gonna add those. Let me try, because I'd like to, but that might cause some n-gons. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it and see what happens. So edit mesh, bevel. And then I'm going to bring the other stuff back just to kind of check that. I'm going to turn on wireframe on shaded. It just gives me an easier way to look at it without having to click on. And this is pretty wide. So let's go to point to half of what we have. And that is pretty close to what we have. And that's kind of what we want. All right, so let's look at what we have then for this piece. Whoops. Point 2 looks good. Let's go ahead and look at it a little closer. Control 1 again and zoom in. And these are the places that I felt that might be a problem, and it's not. So those turned out nice. That looks good. Oh, this is a problem because it's an inside piece. Okay. So we are going to be forced to fix that. And this one here is fine. Okay. But this is an n-gon right here. Right here is an n-gon. And why is it an n-gon? So let's take a look at that a little bit closer. So these are all quadrangles except for here. You can see that this is a problem right here. So I have to fix this right now. Otherwise, we're going to have issues with rendering and all kinds of stuff. So that is a problem. These turned out to be fine. To prove what I'm talking about is to see that you're going to have to. I'm trained. I'm trying to train you guys to see stuff like this. But you can see that if I count these edges, it'd be, let me count them for you. So we got 1, okay, 2, 3, 4, okay. That's a quadrangle right there. And then 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's a problem. That's an n-gon. Anything more than 4 sides, and that's more than 4 sides. So how do you fix that? Another thing is, let me show you how Maya's cleanup works really well. So I'm going to hold down the space bar, go to mesh, go to cleanup, and I'm going to select matching polygons, apply to all polygon objects, and click faces with more than 4 sides. So let's click on cleanup, and it's telling me exactly that's the face I need to clean up. Okay, so let's clean it, and then we'll do it again. So this is easy to clean up. It's not a problem. We are going to have triangles though, but that's all right. So I am going to go to object mode, and I'm going to hold down the shift key and the right mouse button and click on target weld. Okay, I'm going to click anywhere. Outside, don't click on a or your vertex, just click anywhere. If that doesn't work, just right click and go to vertex. What you're going to do is you're going to click on the polygon you want to collapse with the other. So I'm going to take this and just collapse it here. And I'm going to take this and collapse it here. And then I'm going to take this one and collapse it there. And then this one to collapse it there. Just like that. So we have triangles, which is okay. And the reason why I'm saying it's okay, and usually I'm screaming, don't do triangles, but with this instance, we're beveling, so this is going to be the end result. We're not going to smooth it or anything. We're not doing any smoothing. So this is okay to triangulate, and small areas like this you won't ever see. So it's okay. So let's go ahead and click the Q key to get out of that, and let's go around to the other side and do the exact same thing we had before. Select and go to target weld and click anywhere, and let's start putting these together. There we go. And click on Q, then click off, and you're going to find that when we go in here, now we can go in, if we click off that, let's turn that wireframe unshaded off, and that still looks good. So when we go into the cleanup, we will find that it does not come up anymore, and that's great. We still have the nice edges for our gun. There we go, our weapon. So Control 1 back. So that looks really good. I'm really happy with the way that looks. And then we're going to go to this trigger. So let's go ahead and do that one. And let's go Control 1. And this one's a lot easier to do. There's no issues with this one. I'm just double clicking on these, have it go all the way around, and then adding these. Says it follows that edge loop around down here, and at the very end. Now this bevel is going to be a little different because we got a smaller piece, so we just have to watch that it doesn't envelop the whole piece. And you'll see what I mean in just a little bit. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, should we do one here? No, because that's another inside piece that it goes in instead of out. See, anything that's out will work. Anything in will give us that issue. So we're just going to leave that alone. It's small enough that we don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to hold down spacebar, go to Edit Mesh and Bevel. And that turned out actually pretty nice at 0.4. Okay, and we could probably even go higher if I click on, go from 0.4 to 0.6. Because it's such a small object, from far away you won't really see that. So I'm going to go even higher than that. So 0.8 would be, it's probably pretty good. There we go. And let's see how it works with the rest of the gun, Control 1. And how that looks. Now it's got to be smaller than this, of course, but I still think it looks pretty good. And we've gotten to probably the largest bevel, because once these meet together, if you go higher, it's going to look really awful. So I think we're good there. All right, another thing that kind of looks kind of funky. Oh, well, this looks really funky too, so we need to kind of get that too. But let's the handle, kind of a strange thing here. Let's do Control 1, and what I want to do with this is something that's kind of it's going to be a little bit different. Is we're going to we can't leave it as is because that's way too low poly. Meaning that it just looks bad, right? You know, it doesn't look like a hand grip. So what I'm going to do, if I hit the 3 key, you notice that it kind of falls apart at the top and falls apart here. So with the 3 key on, though, I think I'm going to go in here to vertex, and I'm going to exaggerate something real quick. I'm going to exaggerate these. So I'm going to go Control 1, okay? I'm going to go to the front view, and you can see that I'm kind of off a little bit here. So I'm going to marquee select these and move them forward to match that. Okay, I'm going to continue doing that until I get the exact version of this hand grip that I want. I'm going to move this one back like that, move this one forward, and so you can see that we're going to have a nice, you know, it looks like a hand grip now instead of a blob. So I've got to pull this back a little bit more like that, so you really pull that out. All right, so now when you look at this and I hit the 1 key again, it's very, very pointed. And of course that will not work. That looks awful. But let's go to Control 1. And what we're going to do here, when we go into object mode, I want you to hold the Shift key and right mouse button, go to Insert Edge Loop. Let's insert an edge loop right at the very top, okay, like that. And then at the very bottom, okay. And then we're going to let Maya do the rest of it for us. We're going to let Maya model for us, actually. Go into object mode. And hold down the space bar, go to mesh, and then into smooth, go into the option box and click just one. We only need one. So click on one. There we go. And there it is. There's our finished piece. Now, it doesn't look like much, okay? But it looks pretty good. Now, it's going to even look better at 2, okay? 2. Okay, there we go. So the thing is, it's a little bit too high poly. It looks fantastic, but it's a little too high poly, okay? So 1 looks okay, right? 1 looks okay, but 2 looks better. So what do?